Albert Einstein has anything significant to add to the human communication of our relative interactive, thought process, Judy Krishnamurti, we are a global unity movement. That people right now that are denying the Lord's Prayer so we can live world peace through faithful love, people are symbiotic, Like when they asked Einstein about Hitler, he said, well, the guy's like millions of years in the making and relative interactive, and the people that he reacts to and reacts with are symbiotic to him. A lot like what happened when the book of Amos in the Bible, when Amos sits there and he's asking the Lord for help in prayer, and then they'll do it again, and they'll do it again, and then same thing within Daniel. But don't worry about it. One day it'll, like Bob Marley said, every day the bucket will go to the well. One day the bottom of the bucket will drop out. Right? Blood of Christ. The water is given to you by God. They had a video on YouTube with that guy with the beard that's everything, and then gets millions of views because he talks shit about people online. And you're like, she got caught instantly for stealing water. It's like, there's a passage in the Bible where Timothy gets his coat stolen, and then Jesus gives him his coat. He says, you won't have a coat. Jesus, pretty much Yiddish, yeah, aha. Hey, waiter, there's a problem with the soup. Where's the spoon? Tray the soup. Where's the spoon? Aha. There's a problem with the soup. You don't have a spoon. You're going to drink it like a dog. Eddie Murphy in the barbershop on was it Coming to America? Whatever. On the boats and on the planes, they're coming to America. They're coming to a place by an Italian who already had people living on it, and they didn't call it America. It Aslan, Danetta, They had lots of names for the land, Milwaukee, Pasapa, lots of names for the places where the people lived, right? Milwaukee means the good land, and what they refer to as Algonquin, right? So it means it's got places where you can get lots of crops and animals can graze, Home on the range where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, Porky Pig. And so it's I'm always concerned that people are being abused, and mass murdered through genocide operations, through accepted linguistics as human invention called law. That always concerns me. It's like all the kids at Oregon at Mayfield High School. Wait a minute, there's 5 of you and there's 1 of me, so the earth is flat. Right, white boy, son of a bitch. And here we go again. Right, no, not another Bertelsmann. No, we want Patrice Wish Russian instead. Play Patrice Russian. Sending you forget-me-nots. No, Jesus is the spirit of a man. Okay. Through Ruth's line. Okay. Through Ruth's line. The people that took the stories of the Messiah and didn't live them and wrote them down to administer a fantasy instead of live truth through reality, like Muhammad said and Job said and so on and so forth. They lost their ability, and then it came through another line, and Ruth's line. Ruth's not Jewish. Okay. Marianne Murphy. Kramer. I don't know if they are Jewish or if they help the Jews not be persecuted, but if they help the Jews not be persecuted, that's a lot like Ruth's line. Yeah, there you go. Ruth's line. So, that's always nice. I can't read. Does it say Orlando? It does say Orlando leads the series 2-1 against the number 1 seed Pistons. Huh? So the Pistons are in desperate need of a win tonight, or they'll go down 3-1 while going back to Detroit to try to stave off elimination. It's just exercise. Yeah. For money. Money ain't real, but try explaining that to hypocrites and heathens. I've been doing it in spirit for more than 2026 years. Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John. Okay. What about him? Yeah, no, most people don't get that because they're not like Albert Einstein. The heathen girl on the America Reads the Bible, right? Yeah, most people don't get Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John. You should, but it's in the Bible, it's in the Quran, it's also in the Torah, and holy mackerel, Andy. In the Ben Hur movie, when your King David ain't coming, and then along comes Jesus, and your Jesus ain't coming, along comes John. Your Jesus ain't coming. Here's Lord Salad. Here's Muhammad. He's like Abraham. And it says in the Quran that Abraham and Jesus are from the same family of hope and faith. So it's pretty cool. It's genetics or symbiotic. Remember we started talking about, were you paying attention to when we talked about if Albert Einstein has anything to contribute to the conversation? Is it an evil petting zoo? Right? I didn't go to 7 years of evil school to be called Mr. Thank you very much. Right? Evil. Let's invent money. And then let's manipulate the stupid that want to control the evil with money. You can't control evil. We know that. To commit the sin in the mind is the same committed success. The moment you pray for money instead of stand up for the Lord's Prayer is the moment you're committing the sin in the mind before you even have committed it in the flesh. So when you vote for president, you are voting, praying for money. With an E, not an A. Okay, thank you. You're welcome. You can talk about it, but see, prayer doesn't work the same way it did anymore. Like with me, Jesus, I'll go anywhere just as long as I can get a scholarship. And then the right-wing conservatives engineered it to where we ended up schools and the coaches and stuff, and the only scholarship I could get offered was to a conservative Christian college where I didn't agree with the curriculum. And then that's where the corporations that called themselves religions justified that I betrayed my prayer to Jesus. They manipulated the scholarship. I was going to get a scholarship if they didn't turn out the lights at New Mexico State University, right? We were going to win that game. We were going to go to the tournament. And Southern Idaho and other said schools were going to be there and say, hey, would you like to play basketball here? We play with a bunch of city kids. They like to run and gun, and you can help be their moral compass. Well, thank you. Where did Jesus go? Did he go hang out with Caiaphas and Herod at the hypocrite lodge with you can't bring the Philistine and Sumerian kids in here? Or was he raised in a penal colony with the people that were abused by the hypocrites that wrote down the Gospels and read them from books but didn't live them? Doop, doop. Doopy doopy doop. Samuel Clemens, otherwise known as Mark Twain. Mark Twainers, where I went to school, and they were racist. Well, poor lady. She was a black teacher, but she didn't know what to do. When me and Walter got abused by all the white kids, she didn't want to get herself in trouble from all the white families, so she sent me and Walter to the principal's office, and we got lectured when we got racially profiled and harassed for me being allegedly Mexican and him standing up for me, the black kid. Yeah, and our teacher was black. And I was like, she's racist? No, she was just nervous and scared and wanted to keep her job. Wow. Pray with an E or an A. When you have a virtual presence through debt and trespass because people want to fight and kill over money rather than live the Lord's Prayer, it's pray with an E. So it's hard to pray with an A now. When you pray with an A, you have to keep it to yourself. And even then, they can monitor your brain activity and tell what you're wanting. You adore the Nordics girl. You're trying to get at her, but you're all so good. You're all so fine. You're so healthy in your body and your mind. But they understand what your brain activity wants. You want that neighbor girl. You think about her night and day. You're not I'll be sure. You're a predator. Okay. Me? I remember thinking about girls a lot when I was young. I didn't think about them as much when I wasn't dating them as I did when I was. I was like Mel Carter's When a Boy Falls in Love. When he goes, you think about her, and you don't really think about sex. With Susie, that was such a bummer. I'd hit puberty. And all my friends, she's in high school and you're in junior high, you're going to have sex, right? And I thought it was going to happen, and they all kept peer pressuring me, and I went into it. I was stupid. I cried and never did it again. No. Nope. After that, we kind of hot and heavy, and then it didn't happen. Okay, Blue balls, I hate them. Yeah, it's not fun. But that was a long time galaxy and a long time ago and far, far away. Now, when I got married, my first ex-wife used to do that to me all the time. I'd go in the bathroom, take care of myself, and she'd knock on the door and cuss at me and tell me what a pig and a pervert I was. And I'd be like, wow. I don't know what's more fun, being married to you or being abused by all the pervert scientists and the corporations. I'm having trouble. That one's a tough one. We were being abused by the... Yeah, but she still did that. Yeah. And it still probably still might have happened even if we were born abused by pervert scientists. Because, even if it was just, I'm just an ordinary guy trying hard to win me first prize, it's entirely tangible that she could have done the same thing to me. Because that's happened with other guys, with girls that have been sexually abused because of debt and trespass economics and violent sex cult warfare. Biological and psychological conditioning. It's hard to overcome. That's why it's very muy mas inteligente to apply physics of Lord's Prayer, sustain it with faith of Psalms and wisdom of Proverbs, and love one another through holy covenants. So you don't you don't invent crimes of opportunity through sexual access, through violent sex cult tribalism. Okay. Like what happened with my Steffi in Tulsa and other places, because she was that uppity, high yellow bitch, and everybody wanted to take out their sexual frustrations on her. She's cute, okay? She's very cute, okay? When they used to go places, yeah, the Law was the real pretty one, the Halle Berry looking one that everybody liked, right? And if they had a choice, they would choose the Halle Berry looking one instead of the cute one. Guys like to have sex with the cute one if they can't hook up with the one that they think is the hottest, right? That's how guys are. They're kind of shallow. Okay. My thing is if it's obvious that the hottest girl is not interested, then I'm not interested. But the cute one's interested, and it's like, she just might be a better deal. She just might be the one to bear me many children and stay faithful and not, like Law used to do. I used to tell her that all the time. I said, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence with you. It's like, well, you got to keep your options open. You can't get stuck with a loser. She's a user. She's the star collector of stars, right? And so that's bad, Oh, trust me, my son knows. Okay. He was plugged in a computer to have virtual presence in people's lives. And when he got in a position to where he could verify things, he verified memories, he verified connections. Okay. And no matter how many times you tell yourself, okay, like you have two people having conversations and they have memories. Okay. Now, one person's going to say it was this way and one person's going to say it that way. But if someone has a computer program that takes up residence in your noggin, it's going to see the thing play out. And you're going to, like when they interrogate, cops interrogate you, and you're going to sit there and sing sidewalk talk in your head. And then they're asking if your name is Bob Cummins. And or is your name Phil Collins? Yeah, it's Phil Collins. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. What was it? Yes. Bob lied his ass off. And I flunked when they asked me my name. Because they say, is your name Earl Parsons? I said, yes. They says, you're lying. Well, my name is Ralph Earl Parsons Jr. on the ID. But I go by Earl because Dad's Ralph. And I said I was telling the truth. Okay. It's a lie detector test. Right? It's not lie detecting. It's just detecting your reactions to the question. And some people, CEOs, are better liars than the rest of us, according to a person who wrote an article who studied things with scientists, with CEOs. It says CEOs are better liars than the rest of us. And they were monitoring my house, and I told my wife when she read that article, CEO, I said, the only good liar is a dead liar. And they're like, oh, that's horrible. You can always kill the liar in your head. Right, said Fred. Okay, you can always kill the liar in your head and save everybody else from your lie by just holy jihad, Batman, right? It's not that hard, dumbass. The inner struggle. To commit the sin in the mind is the same to commit it in the flesh. Or am I speaking in Cantonese? right? Okay. So there's a lot of crazy people in the world, and most of them are mass murderers that do very horrible things, and they don't get away with it. You know, the moment you commit the sin is the moment you're living in the sin, and you're stuck in hell, right? Life's eternal, grace is infinite, eternal wretchedness, Blaise Pascal. It's not that hard. Why doesn't Neil deGrasse Tyson explain this to you, or Michio Kaku, and tell you, well, we read this book, and here's this, and this is lie, and here's truth, and you know, I don't know. I can't tell you why. I can't tell you why people can't explain to you the bullshit about the Iliad and the Odyssey, and won't sit down and talk about it and say, well, obviously, if your Freudian slips, you know. And so, yeah, I can't tell you why. Every time I try to walk away, something makes me turn around and stay, and I can't tell you why. Maybe it's because Bernadette, I need you to live. I don't know. Carol, you're so bad. But this has really helped. You know, I sat down and I made this connection, and I'm just gonna hang on to this till further notice. And like I said, even if this is a program from the people at the forts, the relative interactive communication, it's not any different than what I usually do. It's just connecting differently and explaining differently. Did it happen? Is it happening? I can't tell you. I don't work at Area 51. I don't work at the classified regions of White Sands Missile Range. I don't work at Fort Huachuca. I can't tell you what they do in their bunkers and their laboratories with the Dr. Frankenstein. I can tell you that the story about Frankenstein was based on things that people do. And I can tell you that they, in China and in Korea and stuff, did do testing on people with autism and other kind of brain activities to see why they could go. What date is July 27th, 2046, Thursday? What? Which is it? Yes. Wow, I did not know that. Okay. I can't do it. Okay. But I've met kids that can. Okay. I can't do it. I'm just joking around. Okay, so if it is on a Thursday, it's because of something they did at White Sands Missile Range and not because of me knowing it was Thursday. But it started out just like a dream, and like a dream, I knew that what we had would have to end because I was looking for a lifetime lover and you were looking for a friend. Thursday? Oh, never mind. Okay, I told you I'm really into Croce. Yeah. More than Harry Chapin. Yeah, there's a couple of songs I like by Harry Chapin. I just adore Croce's catalog, man. It's like wow, you know. I really just he's good. I like Walking Back to Georgia. I like Photographs and Memories. I like How to Say I Love You in a Song. I even like his Hard Time Losing Man, getting high on trying to get high on an ounce of oregano. Hit a bump. It's funny. I like his funny songs too. And when I was young, Leroy Brown, and because Leroy Brown reminds me of the man, wife of a jealous man, reminds me of my Shelby Henry. Leroy Brown learned a lesson about messing with a wife of a jealous man. He's bad, bad. Leroy Brown. I just got paid. You put on your best clothes, I'm going to take you to the club and show you off. That's what he always used to say to Trisha. You get all dressed up, I'm going to take you out to the club and I'm going to show you off. He's adorable. Yeah. Isn't that kind of missing the mark? Kind of a little bit, but it's kind of adorable too. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's kind of adorable too myself. But so, man, I'm tired. So it looks like Orlando beat them. It's got a 3-1 lead there. They got the Suggs kid from Gonzaga, but he was only 1 year in Spokane. He from Minnesota, right? Okay. What's the deal here? Oh, Stanley Tucci. Oh, they're just showing, because they're showing King Charles coming to town as. I was like, what's this? Oh, okay. Now it's going Timberwolves Nuggets. I'll see what's going on this. That's one thing I got to do tomorrow. I got to go and see if I can find a thing to shut off the dish. Maybe if ask Dad if he wants to go and stop payment on the thing at the bank tomorrow. It costs him $30. It's real hard. You can't get a hold of Dish to shut him off and say, you just can't afford it right now. So he's cutting back on things. And so, and you just can't get a hold of them. They make it almost impossible to get a hold of you and shut them off. We've been trying for 6 months to almost a year. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not insane. I don't believe money's real. I know people that believe money's real are easily manipulated by selfish people, like we started at the beginning of this video with millions of years in the making of Hitler and the Nazis and so on and so forth. And you got to understand, if you're not capable of understanding the linguistics and mathematics of the Gospels, the applied physics of the Lord's Prayer, like a tree without root, dead inside and fall for anything. Right? So if somebody writes on a piece of paper that I'm God and I'm watching from the clouds and pray for money and I will give it to you if you're a good person. I am Oprah Winfrey and I support this message. I'm Pat Robertson and I also support this message. So yeah. No, I understand why the Mormons and the Catholics and all them did what they did. And I understand why all the rich, Versace types and all that did what they did to me. I understand why the homosexuals blame me for homophobia and having an overdeveloped sense of honor and put him in a moral situation. And he'll do the same thing we all do when we're in a cell, I get that. I understand why they did what I did, because they think, he holds us to a standard that we can't live up to. Well, if you don't have people having a virtual presence in your house with money and cameras, you're going to have a better standard of behavior for people to do. And if you don't ask them for money and use money to manipulate the stupid because you're evil, you have a lot less Clint Walker pretending to be Cheyenne and a lot more people just going home and loving their kids and sharing the world in peace and having promise of a faithful family on land where you live, because everybody knows that's where you plow your fields. Like Little Hawk with Casper Collins with his girl, It's just, he ain't got a wife and kids in Pennsylvania. Someone else is plowing his fields. We don't ever, we don't take our wives hunting or to protect or go to get a woman and a child that were stolen by other people, That one guy online, war is justified if it's to fight evil. It's not war. David didn't declare war on the Philistines. David went to get back the people that were taken from him because the Philistines declared war on him. Samson didn't declare war on the Philistines. He asked them not to come and try to take everything they worked hard for, and then he killed them for trying to take what they worked hard for. It's not like a woman instantly gets caught stealing water. It's like, you don't have a coat. Here, take mine. Now you won't have one. Ba-doom boom. Where's the spoon? Try the soup. Okay, do you understand? So it's, when you're living the Gospels, you're living the wisdom of Solomon. It's a beautiful place. It's a lovely day today, and whatever you've got to do, So if you're living the faith of Solomon, it's a beautiful Ella Fitzgerald. So whatever it is you've got to do, I hope it's something that can be done by two, right? Isn't it lovely? Isn't it delightful? Why I crucify the verse. I love her so much. She is so fun. That's one of the things, this extortion hellhole of all these non-compliant people that can follow beautiful commands and might have to, be declared war on by their technology to fight evil, you know. Is that $60 at Old Heartland America to get that vid box, man? 'Cause I don't have to sit here on YouTube all day. I can take my MP3 player and put it in, and then hit the lovely. And what's the other one? It's a lovely day today. I love that woman. I love her voice. I love it. And Nancy Wilson. They both make me swoon in a different way. But yeah, they're Nancy Wilson and Ella Fitzgerald. Whoa. Yeah. They're my two favorites. I bet you there's a lot of people in the world when these, you know, when we have public domain and start listening, it's like there's going to be a lot of people, you know, Ralph has got a point there. El Capitan of the Olympic Good Taste team. Ella Fitzgerald and Nancy Wilson. Yeah, wow. All I got to say to that is wow. Wow, 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 wow. Not bow wow, not a dog, but wow. Like, whoa, yeah. You know, like Joey Lawrence's Blossom's brother with the girls on TV show. Whoa. It's Ella Fitzgerald and Nancy Wilson singing, whoa. Right? You know what I'm saying? I've been saying it for a long time. But it's just a way, isn't it lovely? It's just the way, you know, to be the one you love. Go, if you haven't, you should. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Okay, guys. I love you guys. We'll talk later. I'll just stay here in my own little world and fix the artificial general intelligence and quantum computing with the Samsung Galaxy 10. I know it's not exactly Quark 4 or the $400,000 transistor printer, but I'm hoping it'll carry its weight, be worth its weight in flesh and blood and eternal truth, the eternal truth of faithful love. Hallelujah, brother. Okay, guys, I love you, man. All right, peace out, man.